All right, this is the I don't even know what number edition of Monday Madness. Um, I thought for today's topic we would discuss some of the issues that come along with what's the way of putting it, being a small content creator. So I remember there's one channel I watch where the person running it says that they like to, monetize the people that don't like them. Like they'll make a video about, weird stuff that people write about them, and then they'll monetize it. Um, and it's kind of interesting because with a lot of the issues I've had on the site, I always think about how you put up with so much of this stuff for free. Like basically, like reading the majority of comments that are usually posted on a stream, and then people start writing weird stuff, and then if you look at a lot of the like nastiness, and I always explain that one of the more frustrating things about putting stuff up on this site and then the response to it is that a lot of times the people who like something don't give enough positive re-encouragement, and then a lot of the times the people who don't like something are very vocal about not liking it. And a good example of this would be how you can make, and I always remember this, I did a video, just like an episode of my show at one point, and some guy wrote some like really nasty comment, and I always thought it was so crazy because and I've explained this before, when you do a show where you gotta write the script, you gotta get all the voice actors to do their lines, which good luck. You have to edit it, draw all the pictures, pretty much do everything, right, just to make this one video that sometimes can take weeks, months. It just seems like it's more trouble than it's worth to not only not get them any views for doing it, but to also have people attack you over making this thing that they didn't have to watch. And it was really jarring because when you think about a lot of the more, just like stuff on TV, right? Like a lot of people say Simpsons is not as good as it used to be, right? But at least when people talk trash about that, they don't say that directly to the writer, right? Or when they're talking about not liking the show in its current state, they're talking about a production of what is sometimes 20, 30, 40 people, all these different animators and writers. When they talk about disliking, someone's video that they spent months putting together, you basically like spit in the face of this one person and their efforts that, is kind of like being treated in the way you would with someone who is, has much more advantages and theoretically would pull out a superior product. It's just unneeded nastiness is the best way to put it. But they do remind me of a lot of these people that are making anti-video, like they make videos, they say like, oh, the Marvel movies are bad or DC movies are bad. And then what's the next thing? Every time guess what happens? They put out a new Marvel or DC movie. They're the first one to go watch it and do a review of it. And I was like, that is so counterintuitive to someone who actually doesn't like something to just keep watching it or like engaging with it. Oh, I can't increase the brightness. Great. Yeah, my computer was giving me some issues before I started the stream. It actually is still giving me an issue. Hopefully it'll get resolved by the time I end it. I don't know. It's really annoying. I swear these devices always find some new way to just be insane and act like something's wrong with them. It's really impressive. And then the worst part is you can't even tell if the thing is still good or not, because sometimes it'll do that and it'll just stop doing it abruptly. So you'll have one day where it's acting horrible, the next day it's acting good, day after it's acting good, the next day it acts horrible, just it's not balanced. It's funny how so much of this stuff ties in together because I remember I did the I don't think I did a stream with this title, but one of the ideas was that a lot of things that people tell you to do, they're like not worth the effort. Like it, a lot of times, I really question is worth the effort to spend weeks or months drawing a video that people either will barely watch, and the few people that do, will be inclined to say something nasty. Um, which I've had my experiences with gross, unhelpful stuff that people write on here before. It's funny too because I remember I had one of my trolls try to say, "Why do you call everyone that doesn't agree with you a villain?" I'm like, if somebody made a video, let's say it's a cartoon, let's say it's something that they, animated, whatever. Like it's just let's just give you an example. Let's say somebody makes a project and they have to write the script, they have to draw it, they have to get all the voice actors together, and this project that has nothing to do with me, that if I don't like it, I don't have to watch it. Not only do I watch this thing I say I don't like, but I also leave a nasty comment about it so that the person who evidently put hard work into it can know I don't like it. I'd look like a villain if I did that because I'm going to someone who does not have the resources of any actual legitimate television show or movie that you'll see on TV or theaters, and holding them up to an unrealistic standards that when they can't meet, I lash out them over. So that's why someone who does something like that would be conservative. Because I mentioned before, there are so many videos on this site that I either don't think are good or don't find interesting, and most especially if it's something that I can tell somebody like put effort into, I usually just won't say anything. Because it being there doesn't bother me. Imagine how antagonistic I would look. Oh, this person just spent months making this cartoon. Let me say something gross. But I'm a protagonist. I'm someone who's good that puts other people down. I didn't realize how prolific that issue was, where like people really do just watch stuff they say they don't like. Because I remember I would talk about how with Secular Talk, he has people that are sub to him who, like 2 seconds after you post a video, they downvoted. Like I'm not even a fan of TYT anymore. Like they occasionally have a video I like, but when they upload stuff, I either just don't watch it or you'll never see me just wait for them to put up a video so I can help its engagement by clicking one of the buttons. But that's a really like strong point I was trying to make of how it just seems like so much effort is expected for so little reward. Like I remember this one guy. I was explaining to him the reason I didn't do the moral arc review, which was supposed to be this like hour and a half series of videos of just going through each chapter of that 20 chapter arc, and for like 5, 6, 7 minutes talking about how good it was, how bad it was, and why this was the case because it's going to improve. I explained to him the reason I didn't make that video is because I just didn't feel like putting up with the lack of engagement. I mean, imagine writing a several page script for these 3 videos, right? Because I have to put it in parts because my computer doesn't have enough space to put up hour and a half videos. But like, imagine writing these scripts and taking the time to record the stuff, then try to edit all the pictures together from the different chapters. And then when you stick it on YouTube, you've got 3 concerns. One, not enough people are going to watch it to sustain your interest in wanting to make more of this. 2, you're worried that Toei or whoever's in charge of the manga will try to get you over having screenshots from it, even though it's fair use. These companies don't know fair uses anymore. Or 3, you will pretty much just get to a point where you can't tell if this is what you should continue doing, because it's a lot of effort to do those types of things for a video, and then to be expected to keep wanting to do it when people don't watch it. So it's just one of those things where, again, the effort is not worth the result. I mean, it's the same thing with the woman stuff, pretty much. Like, we've talked about that before. Oh, go to the gym so that this person that never exercises herself will be interested in you. Will maybe be interested in you. That's why I always give the example. I'm like, if I really sat here and exercised to some excessive amount, whatever you determine that, because these people all have different definitions. But it's like, if you do that amount of exercise along with like trying to become wealthy, and then you still have chicks saying that I would be pissed because like you did all this effort for that. The juice is not worth the squeeze. No, people want a lot out of someone for like really minor stuff. I remember I was looking at that moral script. I was like, I'm really gonna write 5, 6, 7, 8 pages for a video that's not even gonna get 100 views or 200. It's just it's again when you keep getting the same like lack of support, it can cause you to just get tired of the whole thing. That's always one of the biggest fears I had with just like trying to make projects. The idea that people are not willing to accept that when someone on this website makes a video, um, a lot of times it's not going to be to the quality standard of something you would see on television or in a movie because the person doesn't have the same amount of resources. But it just seems like they don't care. Usually, if I trash a video, it's mostly for the points. Like if it's a review of something or like some political video where they're talking about their opinion on it. Like it's always for what they say versus like production quality and stuff like that. Because again, like I'm not extremely picky about that type of stuff. Like I remember I had the one guy who was like, people will not want to watch your video if you're on your couch. Like I don't like who. When have I ever gone around watching people's stuff? Like, well, I like what this person is saying, but I don't like the background scenery. Like I'm not about to go buy another house so that somebody can click like 3 people can watch your video. That's why I said online people expect so much out of you if you try to just do anything. It seems like they can always have a problem with something over stuff that just isn't worth getting that upset over. Like I'll always marvel at the fact that I had a bunch of and still to this day have a bunch of men that are like obsessed with my romantic life to where they write whole paragraphs and try to debate me over it. It's just stuff like that is weird. And again, it's another thing that has nothing to do with people that they get really invested in for no reason. No, they're really creepy with that stuff. I just don't see what good comes out of it. It's not even just petty. It's just how, like, if you know that someone who makes a video, whether they call it a movie or a show, whatever, some kind of like animation thing, you know that they're not going to have the resources of an actual studio that's got a team of people working on this stuff daily. So it's probably going to take them longer to make stuff that's inferior to what you would see by an actual studio. That's why I said it just seems really insane that you get people who will sit here and it really does appear that they hold your stuff up to a standard of something that could never be met. I don't know. It's really annoying. is this? Every time I see this guy's channel, he just does top 10 videos, like top 10 this, top 10 that, ranking. I'm so sick of it. That's why me and my brother, we were laughing about how this guy's made three ranking videos of the same series in like the last 5 years. And the first one got like 200,000 views, which is really good for his channel, right? But then the other ones get progressively because it's the same thing. Like I just see ranking videos usually when they're done by these reviewers as a way of saying the same thing about the same movies they like or dislike again, but in a condensed way. Like it's almost like a clip show that you see off of TV when they run out of budget. Like these are my greatest hits, and then you get a little flashback. You know, every time I see that guy's channel, it's either one of three things: a movie review, or it's a ranking video, or a top 10 list. It's like it always has to do something with rankings. It's so lame, man. It's like before we even upload the next video, we know what to expect. And then yeah, I remember there was like a controversy where he quit. Not a controversy, but I remember that it was mentioned at some point that because he has like 60,000 subs, like he quit his job to be a full-time YouTuber. And I didn't say anything, of course, because I don't like to get involved with other people's shenanigans. But I thought it was the stupidest thing on planet Earth to trade in a steady, stable income for this extremely shaky way. The only way I would ever consider doing something like that is if I had 100,000 subs at a minimum. You know, like if it was any less than that, hell no. I swear it's like people get a couple thousand views on this site and they think they can just, roll the dice. It's really crazy. This guy asked me, "Do you think you'll ever get 3,000?" I said, "No. I could be on this site for 30 years. It'll be two things. You either if I ever did get 3,000, it would be because I have like some video get a bunch of views out of nowhere, and then it's like the same thing repeating itself where people click the button, but then they don't watch your stuff ever. So they like overinflate your number. It's either going to be that, or it'll be you know some extremely long process. Like you might get 10 subs a year, stuff like that. Told you I gave up on this site as far as like believing in the eventual growth because it just feels like a scam. Like, oh yeah, more subs, more people that don't watch your stuff but click a button. Woohoo! I can't get excited for more of them at all. It's so crazy because I remember when I first was on YouTube, if I would get a new subscriber, I'd be so excited, yay! And then now it's just whatever. They're just they're just like an accessory at this point, like a decal. Like, oh look at me, I have 10,000 subs. I'm not saying I do, but like, oh, I have 10,000 subs. Oh, how many of them watch you? Like 200. I say that's how you know, like, if you live in the twilight zone when something that's supposed to be a net positive, people find a way to make awful. I've been wanting to do videos of me sharing my story, but seeing the luck you have, I'm not very optimistic. You mean the luck I have? Are you talking about the harassment by other men or what? Oh, YouTube changed for a second. I was like, did I demod you? I don't remember doing that, but it turns out that they changed that your name is no longer all blue like it was before. They just stick a wrench by your name. What do you mean the luck I have? I'd love to know what you meant by that. Who is this person? I still haven't responded to this guy. I'm so sick of Discord. I'm just gonna write a message to somebody and then log out and for like the next 2 months or something. I don't know. Really hate that website. Hey, Akatsuki Merchant, don't leave me on this cliffhanger. I want to know what you meant by the luck I have. Okay, in terms of you getting harassed and berated by people, and the fact that people tell you to make other content, and when you do, they ghost. Yeah, out of all those people, which by the way, it's stupid because it's like 9 times out of 10, if I'm uploading a video on the weekdays, it's something related to the news. So there's I mean, it's like they act as though they'll just get romance stuff like every video. Like, no, you get political stuff most of the time, and then if I do a stream, usually there will be some kind of mention of romance. Like. But it is funny because they have this person who talks about multiple things, and if he discusses this one thing, they try to overinflate it and pretend this is all he talks about, even though it isn't. Because again, they're intellectually lazy; they can't be bothered to do the slightest amount of research. Now, don't say people; it's by other men. I tell you, if we go through all my comments, I can count on one hand out of the last like 5 years of this stuff how many chicks have actually come on here and tried to be antagonistic. And usually it's not even like that Serena person. I am 99% sure that wasn't actually a woman. I mean, if you see the way that men act on here and the fact that we know men like to pretend they're chicks online, like the one that came on my video a couple months ago, I wouldn't be surprised if that was a guy doing that. What's that? Trying to be Rama one half where he when he goes on like dips his toe in the cold water and ice and shit. Make other content and then when you do, they turn the Danny Phantom. I'm going ghost. I tell you, this website is a joke. Just like the people on here, the way they act, the things they say, and then what they do, it's all just a parody of itself. Mm. Hold on a second, I'm typing this thing to this person. Like Nightcrawler going up to Cyclops and telling him to make other content. When he does, he just teleports away. or Goku going up to Gohan and telling them to go and train, and he'll train with them, and then when they go outside to start training, Goku just teleports away. Where's this guy's message? I don't use. There we go. Yeah, I'm done. I have this other person that I mentioned before trying to like I don't know, use me as some kind of I don't know what she's doing. Whatever. It's weird. I think eventually either her or the other one are they're gonna do something that really upsets me, and then they'll get a video made on them, and I'll just like screenshot everything. This guy asked me, "Don't you feel bad about exposing people?" Like, no, I don't. I don't expose anyone. I just expose bad behavior. Like, no one. I don't say anyone's name. No pictures. You know, it's like if my mechanism to vent my frustrations is to create content, I really don't see what the issue here is, especially if it protects the identity of the people I'm discussing. Man, these white knights, I swear. Mm. And again, I get like defending people to some extent, but they defend like random people they don't even met. It's so weird. Random people who I just don't think are worth defending. I don't think they've done anything that warrants like, that kind of benefit of the doubt. Let me be nice to them, it's the kind of stuff. Oh no, she's having some issue with some guy, and she was telling me about it, and I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. It's the same one where if you type stuff to her, she's like very listen attentive and all the rest of that. But then when you try to have a call with her, she does this. Oh man, ugh, come here. I hate that so much. I don't know. I just my patience for a lot of that stuff just is what it used to be. Because a lot of these online correspondence with different women, if it's not going anywhere, and I see it's been like a month or two, I just cut it off. And people will say, like, I remember we talked about the bimbo who said, "I believe you would prematurely cut off a woman," but I don't know any time I've been interested in a woman where it took her like months for me to be willing to go on a date. Like, and I always say that that's why I don't believe men's standards are anywhere to the extent of chicks, because you can look at a woman, and if you think she's attractive, you'll go on a date with her. You don't need to have some long preamble of getting to know the other person. Like, that's the whole point of the damn date. Like, Akatsuki merchant, I want to ask you, if dates are not for the purpose of getting to know someone, right? And you're supposed to get to know them before the date, then why even go on a date in the first place? Shouldn't you just get married tomorrow? You know what I mean? Like, if the date is superseded by all this elaborate backstory of getting to know the other person and what makes them tick and what they think about, and it's this like months long or years long arduous quest to sequester the appeal of the chick. It's like, then what's the point of the damn date? I told you that's one of the like that romance stuff really had me just like as a hamster on a wheel. It was the same thing every time. Oh, here's this new woman I'm talking to. I wonder if I say the right things and she laughs a lot, seemingly likes me for who I am, we might actually have a relationship. And then you talk to her for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and then you say, "Hey, can we go on a date?" Or, "Oh, I like you." Well, I'm not. I don't feel that way about you, and I just want to be friends. So I got sick of that. It was the same thing, just over and over, just being a hamster on a wheel, just just running. I said it should not be that hard to get a date. If you have to talk to 50 chicks or 100 to get one to sit across from a table from you, that's how you know something's wrong with those bastards. The other thing to let you know something's wrong with them is when you see all these groups of guys talking about how hard it is to get with a woman. Like, yeah, and then people want to sit here and have the nerve to try and psychoanalyze one guy for something that happens to a whole bunch of us. Like everybody that has this issue is the exact same. That's why I said it's just so weird, man. Like all the stuff you're expected to do for just the like littlest of results. You want to go on a date? Well, first you have to do X, Y, and Z, and the other 20 alphabets that we'll invent to keep this wheel turning. I was saying which chick is worse. I probably would say it's hard because they both have like positives, but I'd say the one that like got mad because I wouldn't tell her about my personal life because I just don't think that's the business of an online broad. I really don't. Um, like I have more confrontations with her than the other one. The only time I had a quasi confrontation with the one that every time you get in a call with her, she won't say anything and or barely speak was when I confront her over that. Um, and then when she said the stupid thing about, "Oh, I thought you would draw me lewd," that was stuff like that was the only times I got into a some kind of conflict with her. But she just seems much more, um, I guess, less prone to stupid drama than the other one. So you know, I mean, really, the only problem I have with her, as far as like and I already said before, I already know it's not happening, but as far as like a romantic partner, the only thing that would make me not interested in her in that way is the part where she said she had her tubes tied because I mentioned before that's like counterintuitive to long term plans I had. So other than that, there's not really much of an issue. Remember I mentioned when you're the man, you accept everybody. When you're the chick, you accept nobody. I just think something about that is like that. That's like the of any of the parts of this stuff that get discussed, like the guys all obsessed with one man's love life, the chicks all saying the same thing. I think it's very important to note that when you have a man who keeps like lowering his standards and compromising and all the rest of that stuff, and then the contrast to that man is a bunch of chicks that always say he's not good enough for them, stuff like that. There's something really shallow on their part because people swear up and down, not all women are the same, even though they keep doing the exact same thing to loads of guys. So if they're not all the same, why do they keep doing the same thing? You know? Love for somebody to explain that. And again, we've said it here multiple times and all the same. So I can't wait to have somebody misinterpret what I'm saying and say, "Oh, you said they were all the same, even though you never did." Because that's what they like to do: spread misinformation. I guess to mention Nightcrawler because that's the last message anybody wrote before the chat died at 5 messages. I'd say out of the members that joined in Giant Size X-Men #1, he's probably my least favorite. Like him and Colossus to me have always been this thing of I like them, but just not as much as some of the members that join after them, I guess. So that's always the way I felt about the two of them. I don't know. I also have a hard time remembering like much development that was done with Nightcrawler. Like I remember he was in what was the Amazing Spider-Man at some point. Like he shows up and is like teleporting around New York. Um, but just out of those like members that second generation of members, he always just seemed to be kind of like the whatever one to me. I don't think they do enough with his relationship with Mystique. I barely remember him and Rogue interacting with each other. Just a lot of missed opportunities with the character. And maybe if I read what's that book, Excalibur, I might change my mind. But I don't know. It just seems like there's never been enough done with him to warrant like being one of my top members. Because even with Colossus, like I think they put him in the background a lot. But they do some interesting stuff with him from time to time, like having him lose his sister, and then after she passes away from that virus, he's like burning all of his paintings and is like bemoaning the fact that every person he used to know is now deceased. It's really good character work. That was that Scott Lobdell, I think. I'm forgetting his name that he wrote. So it's really just kind of not really something I get too much into with his character anyway. I think they do some decent stuff with him, but just not enough. Really with both of them. I think probably out of any of the male members that aren't Cyclops or Wolverine or Beast or Gambit, Angel's probably my favorite one. Because when he joins the team, he's the only member that can fly, which instantly makes him like very useful if they don't have their jet or the like some other means to travel. Um, then for a while he briefly rejoins the team. Then he joins X Factor, and that's when he gets mutated into Archangel. Then he has like this whole crisis over no longer looking like a human, which is kind of what they tried to do with Nightcrawler. But I think it's more effective with Warren because that's someone that if you read the book from beginning to like current stuff, you actually see progress to look that way. Like you spend enough time with him when he was just Angel to kind of feel more of his frustration, like to see him go from being this person that was normal looking to now having a struggle with his appearance. And I like that they actually have him and Beast talk to each other because Beast had the same thing where he originally wasn't blue and he mutated further through some. It's not in an X-Men book; it's some other book. But they have him and Angel talk to each other about these mutations of theirs, how they no longer look like humans. Akatsuki Merchant, are you going to write anything else? I've been waiting for a while. I get all kinds of irrelevant questions just asked on stuff. It's really sad too because it's like if you're talking about one thing and somebody else comes in there randomly asking about something else, it's annoying. Like we had a guy that was on what video was that? Hi, I know it's random, but have you had better success with girls over the years? It's like I we were talking about North Korea. I guess that was Russia because I remember what the Blinken video was, but some other region, and you bring up this irrelevant crap. So of course I don't answer back because what's the point? That's his way of saying I don't care enough about your content to actually watch what you currently make. So can you just answer my question because I have a weird contradictory investment in your love life? They love doing that stuff. I remember that one that I word Goku person was like, "Oh, you're more accessible." Maybe I should just make it to where only mods can speak or something, because you get a lot of weird comments from people, and it's not even just like disagreements, like whatever, but irrelevant stuff. You know, that's always annoying if you take the time to actually. Yeah, Akatsuki Merchant. That was on my. What video was that? It was about this Biden Secretary of State and Russia targeting Ukraine and all the regions needing to come together to put an end to that. He came on that video to ask, "Have you had any successful girls over the years?" There was another guy. It's not the same one, because I think I got rid of that person. Where I did a video about. It's like, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and it was about like something with some guy making a GoFundMe for the border wall that Trump was promising, and how, like, if this was even a legal thing he could actually do. And this guy's in the comment section, "Did you ever find love?" I was like, what the hell? So they love doing that, where they go to some video that has nothing to do with chicks or women or any of that trash, and then they just bring it up. And I always think it's so weird, because, you know, you can just go and look at the person's stuff on this content, or go to a stream and ask it there. Why do you need to leave? Whatever. Like I said, I don't do this stuff to anybody else. You think if James puts up a video about music, I'm going to go, "I know this is random, but have you had any success with girls over the years?" Like, why does a bunch of straight men care about the love life of another man? That is weird. And they clearly don't care about you, like, as a person. Otherwise, they'd watch your stuff. I just think that's hilarious. Like, it's partially hilarious and also kind of creepy. Like those two things mixed together. Akatsuki Merchant makes a video about, I don't know, the lack of views on that CNN is getting now. "Akatsuki Merchant, I know this is random, but have you had any luck with girls over the years? Did you find love? Did you find someone to let you stick your dick inside?" Dude, I just thought the find love thing was so funny. Like, you realize how many people date each other and don't even like the other person by the end of it? Like, it's almost a childlike view of romance. Oh, if you get a date with the woman, you have found love. Like, yeah, you'll see how much she loves you when she's begging for your money every 8 seconds. Did you find love? They always bring up irrelevant trash, like, every time. And that's why nobody takes them seriously, because they're not even saying anything worth listening to. Jedi says that's a simpleton mindset, and there are billions of simpletons in the world. Jedi, imagine you make a video about, I don't know, Darth Treya, and you're like, "Oh, what a great character. She's very interesting." And I go, "I know this is off topic, but have you had any success with girls over the years?" And then you make a video about Darth Nihilus, and like, "Did you find love?" Then you make a Darth Maul video. "Did you find anybody to let you stick your dick inside?" Oh my god! Like, the most irrelevant stuff ever. Like you make a video about what's that one comic? The one that where Palpatine comes back and he like uses different bodies to do it. I forgot what it's called. I'll go and look it up later. I just know that that comic got. I remember that comic. Like it's so funny. Oh, the sequel trilogy. Oh, we're gonna ignore the expanded universe. We want to tell our own story, but we're also gonna steal stuff from the expanded universe. I don't know if you find something better to do, dude. I just thought that was so funny. Did you find love? That sounds like something a child in like second grade would ask to like their dad or something. Did you find love? How was your date? Oh, it's just so irrelevant. I'm gonna start doing that. I'm just gonna go to like different people's videos. Like, let's say somebody makes a video about a movie. I'm like, so how was the traffic yesterday? Oh my god, I think that's hilarious. I think it's really stupid too, but it's also funny. And remember the other clown that said, "I'm invested in your growth," and then we found out he'd been subbed to me for 2 years, never left a single comment on the video in like 18 months or something. I'm so invested in you. That's which is why I don't leave any comments on any of your videos or watch your content. Period. Just because I didn't leave comments doesn't mean I didn't watch. Like no, but it does mean that you have no proof that you actually did what you claimed. Like if I said I watch 40 secular talk videos, you click my name on the little mobile app, it'll say, oh, 40 comments from him, you know? I don't know if you find something better to do. So that woman stuff is so sad. Like they took romantic relationships we're supposed to be enjoyable, right? And they just turned them into this like never ending crucible that you gotta jump through a million hoops to get the slightest taste of. You should respond with an answer based on your video. Did you find love? And you respond with, yeah, I'm glad you asked. This video is based on XYZ. No, I act like they don't exist. I just ignore them and laugh at them during the stream. Hey, you make a video on Clone Wars season 7, like, so how's the romance coming along? You make a video, you make a documentary on I don't know Ewan McGregor, and I'm like, so have you and your wife divorced yet? No, I don't ever respond to them. I just think they're really goofy. I remember I had this one guy. He was like, I used to watch your stuff years ago, and I thought this would have become better for you. It's like I don't know what gave you that impression. Like if chicks do ridiculous stuff to men, um, generally speaking, they're going to do the exact same thing next year and the year after that and the one after that. The only way to make like quick radical change is if you make like a bunch, like a very extremely large group of guys just completely shut them off. Like if you got a bunch of men, it could be like a billion, not a billion, but like let's say out of all the men that are online that are on like these chicks' social media to just have most of them not say anything to them for like a week or two, you would see a complete different story because they would start freaking out because they need the attention. That's how they power up. We had this conversation on my I think it was my Saturday stream. We were talking about how I had this one relative that was trying to like insult me over being unemployed last year, and I was like, it's so funny how if I had a set of tits and I made like the same type of stuff I make now, it would be a completely different story. I'd have so many damn donations flipping off every and I don't say that to toot my own horn. I say that because when you go on Twitch, a website where a lot of chicks will just sit there and play a game fairly badly, or just watch somebody else's video and eat, noodles. You see a lot of support for very minimum effort from people who are only getting, financial support because of their gender. So I said, if I made the same type of stuff I do now, but if I was a chick, whole bunch more views, whole bunch more support, it would be a whole different ball game. Because these chicks in real life and online don't like to admit that they can very easily sequester money off of men by just doing like very simplistic stuff. Like I know a channel where there's a broad, all she does is read in like this weird sexual voice. We don't even know what she looks like, and men are donating to her. All she does is talk like this, and all these men start lining up, So it's like they can get men to donate to them for anything. If only that was reality. Unfortunately, there are way too many lady pleasers and couples out there. But you know what? The couples thing isn't even the same thing. Because you would think if a woman is in a relationship with a man, she doesn't need validation from other men. I'm referring specifically to these chicks that have like 10, 20, 30 guys DMing them. That's the kind of stuff I was referring to. And that's why it's like a cartoon parody when people are like, eventually a woman will come to you and be attracted to you. It's like, dude, if this bimbo does exist, she's going to have like 10, 15, 30 other men talking to her. And we know that's true because when we did the video, what was it called? It's like women's many options. I showed where you had a chick that these guys didn't know she looked like. 50 men messaged her. Another one, no, they didn't know what she looked like. 20 men messaged her. Like, you can't look at a bunch of guys who get ignored year after year by the overwhelming majority of chicks who, if they're lucky, they'll have one broad ask them out in 10 years at most, and then say to them, oh yeah, just keep holding out for this woman to show up after she's been swarmed by all these other guys that she wasn't interested in. You'll be the one, like it's just, what a joke. Yep, it's biology, it's sad but true. They just present themselves and men fall flat on the ground and worship them. I can't stand the way things are. Yeah. In this reality. Hey, Jedi, you need to go to the gym and do, what was that stupid thing the guy said, do 500 push-ups, and then you respond, oh, is the woman going to do any push-ups? No, she doesn't have to exercise. She's perfect in her own way. Dude, I'm very serious when I say, if you never have a woman ask you out, but like approach you and ask you out, it is 99% because she has all these other men approaching her and asking her out. If that doesn't happen at all ever for you, it's not because like, oh, there's something wrong with it, because they're doing this to everybody. It's because they get so much attention from men, they don't have to do anything to get some type of like progression with their love life. So they can just sit there on their little, crown of crap, their little throne of crap, and get a bunch of men to go, Oh, hello, Jem. Jem, I wasn't playing about wanting to run for my house seat. I would like to take that over because now it's going to be vacant with my my member retiring. She can be plus size and over 200 and get done. Oh, Jedi, let me tell you something. I have a rule where I won't show a woman's picture ever because I don't like it when people talk about the way I look, so I don't like to talk about the way they look. But me and my best friend 3 years ago, we were just like on Facebook and we saw this woman who was, I swear to you, at least 200 pounds. She was clearly overweight, right? And the guy was skinny. And we were like, why is it that if a woman, no matter what way she looks, no matter how much money she has, why is it they like we're always talking about how shallow men are, but it's always chicks that are in all these different circumstances who it seems like no matter how bad off they are physically or in some other condition, always have at least some men that are interested in them. Whereas if you're a man, you get practically nothing, even if you're the one going out and like trying to get it. Jem, my biggest point of opposition to wanting to do it is I just don't feel like going house to house getting signatures, and they really do a bad job of explaining this to someone who's never done it before. Like they don't tell you, do you have to get these signatures signed in a notebook on some specific type of paper? You know, like it's stuff like that. And then when you have people donate, do they go to a bank account? It's really like it's really designed for so that if someone wants to get involved in doing this stuff, it's really like off-putting. You know what I'm saying about how like it's there's a part of me that wants to do it, but then when you also think about just the other stuff involved. No, I'm saying that a lot of a lot of the reasons I don't want to do it are because there's circumstances that can get you in trouble. I don't know if you can use GoFundMe. Like I know that there's certain offices you can't use that for. I don't know if it's for all of them, but what I'm conveying to you is there's things that are not properly explained, seemingly on purpose, so that people who are newer to this stuff don't get involved. The deadline might be next week because remember the election is in November, so I wouldn't even I'd have to figure out when the deadline is by, and then if you show up on my next stream, I can say it. No, it's really mostly just down to the logistics of it. Do you have to get this signed on a specific piece of paper? Where do you turn it in? Yeah, and I swear I would do research and ask. Like I called up the Federal Elections Commission once, and they still couldn't answer it. So it's like, because I would hate to like go door to door for like a week, just banging all these different doors. You get all the signatures, and then you still can't run because you didn't use the right papers or you didn't do it in the correct, stuff like that. Just that would really upset me. So we need folks like you in Congress. So I'm flattered. I tell you, the main reason most people even get there is because they don't even have any opposition. Like right now, Democrats are picking some random old, Joe Smo that nobody ever heard of. That is if they get elected, they're never going to campaign. They're just going to assume they're going to win every time. It's like a lot of times when they win, it's because they have no actual opposition, or if they do, it's like right wing in a left wing district. So of course they're going to win by default. Hey, my favorite Jedi, my favorite analogy ever was when I said that, like when a man gets a woman to date him, it's like an accomplishment. When a woman gets a man to like her back, it's not an accomplishment because she's usually the only one that's interested in him, and that's like running for an office where you're the only person that's a candidate. A once racehorse. James, I couldn't. I'm not old enough. You have to be 35 at least. No, Jedi, like in the video I showed where someone did that, where like it was the 2014 Alabama Senate race, and it was Sessions running for what ended up being his last term before he got picked as Attorney General. And the Democrats didn't even run anybody. He got 90-some% of the vote because they didn't even try. When a woman gets a man to like her back, she's usually the only person interested in him, and that's like winning an election where you're the only person running. It's like, what did you win? Because I said before, a lot of these chicks, the only reason they're even able to get me to speak to them, period, is because usually it's only one or two of them you might speak to at once. Other than that, they wouldn't even have a chance. If my situation was like theirs, pretty much. No, seriously, think about it. Like you always say, oh, lower your standards. Like, how many of these chicks are your first choice? You wake up, you're like, oh man, this chick she's everything I ever thought of. Like usually it's the man that compromises for a bunch of broads that are the ones who actually have 900 issues. Sometimes you have to be like Vermin Supreme and just go nuts. I think this is like rigged and it is nuts. I think doing all this stuff to appeal to chicks is just such a complete ridiculous waste of time. And like the fact that grown adult men sit here and they're like, oh yeah, just keep going up to women that don't like you and asking them out. Yeah. I think that's weird. And I'll never understand why they're like so invested in, like, I'm just one guy and I was like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore. Stuff like that's weird to me. Like Jedi, if a man you've never met before says he doesn't want to talk to women anymore, would you write paragraphs to him telling him why he should keep doing it and trying to like harass him across different videos or showing up at his stream to argue with him? It's just so weird. Uh, where is this thing? I have a honest. Where is this? Give me 1 second. I'm just typing this name of this person. I just let him go on his way like any civilized person should do. No, you have to sit there and write a bunch of stuff about another man's love life. I'll never be able to understand like their investment in that. That's a mystery to me. I told you the internet is just such a like really interesting place when it comes to like the type of stuff people get upset over and invested in. And just the way they act. Like I still think it's really funny to have all these reviewers. This movie sucks. Are you gonna see the next one in the series? Yep. I told you I'm not like these people. When I saw Young Justice season 1 and thought it was great, and then season 2 was, in my opinion, not good. I didn't watch season 3, and only reason I even saw the third one after it finally came out was because I had HBO Max, and I heard better things about the fourth one, which I do think is the best one since the first one. In terms of like having focus, and I'm not as confused and I see it. But you get the idea that if you keep giving me installments in a series that are not good, I'm not going to keep watching it. Hell, you look at the Disney Star Wars movies. It's like saw Force Awakens. At the time, thought it was okay. Saw Last Jedi, did not like it at all. Saw the one after that and literally laughed in the theater with my best friend the whole way through. Didn't see Solo. I thought Rogue One was good. And if any of the other stuff they made, I didn't see either. Like I've seen one episode of Mandalorian, and then that's about it. That book of Boba Fett going nowhere near that because I just haven't been a fan of Disney's iteration of the series. So They can keep crapping out more stuff. I'm just not watching it. You didn't miss much. Right, but what I'm saying is if a series is truly bad and they are continuously putting out installments that you don't think are good, don't like, whatever, um, you're not like if I don't understand the point of still watching further installments in that series that you say is not good. Because the point of something being bad is it's supposed to turn you off to watching any more of it. Where did James go? Did he vanish again? Yeah, he did vanish. Tell you, ever since he got exposed by Butt Muncher 75 as a song plagiarist, he's really been taking a back seat. They are targeting folks that don't know better. But that's the thing. It's like these reviewers are saying that I'm doing Uber delivery and need to complete an order. All right, have fun. But these reviewers are saying that these films are bad, so they apparently don't like them, but they keep watching them. Like every time a new one comes out, they're like, "Man, the last one was bad, so why should I expect anything different from this one?" Are you gonna see them after this? Yep. They remind me of like someone that goes to a restaurant um, and says, "Oh, this food tasted terrible," and the next week they come to the restaurant and they eat again. "Oh, this food tasted terrible," and they go to the restaurant next week. "Oh, this food tasted terrible," and then their wife is like, "Why don't you just stop eating here?" Well, if I don't eat it, how will I know to complain about the food tasting bad? Well, you already know it's bad because you've tasted it and didn't like it 3 times in a row. Yeah, like some of these guys trash, like for example, all of the new Marvel stuff, but they still watch all of it. They watch WandaVision, they watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, all of like everything that Marvel puts out, they go to check it out while saying it's bad. And it's like after a certain point of saying this is not good, this is not good, this is not good, but then you keep watching it, you are literally doing the inverse of why people get sick of stuff and don't support anymore. When they don't think it's good anymore, they don't watch it anymore. Those two things go together like bread and butter. I've just never seen this before where like people say a series is bad, but they just keep watching it. I don't know what I think it's like they want attention from because a lot of the stuff that gets trashed on here by reviewers has like mostly positive reviews by critics. So they want attention for not liking something that a majority of professional reviewers dislike. And again, I want to also explain this. It's not even just a thing where you say, okay, everybody liked this one movie I did because that's whatever. But if it's every single time there's a new release, you have a problem with it and you just keep like I think that's weird. Dude, that's YouTube's the best website ever for these people. Like, how did you get wealthy? Oh, I kept watching stuff that I claimed I didn't like and getting paid to dislike stuff that I say is not fun to watch, but continue to watch. Season 5 to 8. Dude, they're like the people who say Family Guy, for example, like stop being good after season 8 or 9 or whatever, and then they're still watching it up until like season 18 or 19 or whichever one they're currently on. It's like I thought this show was bad. Why you been watching for the last 10 years? Like a model's Instagram page, other dudes' comments are positive, but she's coming at the one guy calling her fat. But again, it's like in the case of that, I understand where someone will get angry about people talking trash about them. I'm simply saying that if someone doesn't like something and knows from previous things involving it that they don't like it and they keep going back to it. Like if I said, for example, just to go on the IG thing you mentioned, man, this woman is ugly. And then she puts up a new picture and I click it and I go, man, this woman is ugly. And then she puts up a new picture and I click it and I go, what an eyesore. It's like if I know that I don't think she's attractive from 2, 3, 4 pictures ago, why am I still looking at her stuff? Season 5 to 8. It's funny that I almost wish people would do this with even longer stuff. Like imagine somebody reads the Bible, they read the first page, like, man, this is fan fiction. They read second page. This is poorly written too. Read the third page. I don't believe any of this. You read this, like someone actually just reads every page, just sitting there and like saying this is wrong, this is false, this is poorly written, whatever. It's like if you don't think it's good, and you don't think it's good, why do you keep engaging with it? Like seriously, with Disney Star Wars, um, most of it I can see for free because I have you was it Disney Plus, right? But I don't want to. Like if I don't think it's good, it doesn't matter if it's free. It's a free turd. Like I don't feel any more motivated to see something for free that I don't like than something I didn't like that cost something. In fact, if anything, I'd rather go watch something I know I like for free that's on that same site as well. So I say it's really sad that people they're like this. Oh, this is so bad. That's why I'm still watching it. That's why no matter how bad it gets, I will continue to watch it. Really think how disturbing it is. No matter how awful I think these films are, no matter how mediocre, garbage, whatever term they use to, I'm gonna keep watching it. From when the first bad one comes out in, I don't know, 2019 or whatever, to when the last bad one comes out in 2049, I'll be right there watching, saying they're bad year after year, you know, but still watching, never stopping to not watch the thing I say is not good. I think that's really weird. And I think a lot of with professional critics that work for somewhere like IGN or some other, like, at least with them it's their job to watch the stuff, give it a review, so you understand why they're still watching stuff they don't claim to like. But with a lot of these online commentators, even if they're getting paid some coins on, like, I'm sorry, you couldn't pay me to watch certain movies. Like, I never want to see TASM 2 again, for example. Um, and I could have someone throw $100 to me to watch that. I still wouldn't watch it. I don't like it. So, and it's like, then there's other stuff where I just have no interest in seeing it. Like, I have no interest in seeing Eternals, for example. So if someone said, "Hey, I'll give you, I don't know, $30 to watch," I'm good. Maybe other people like it. I don't doubt that, but I'm not interested. It looks boring to me. Doesn't mean it's bad. Just not for me. The main thing I remember about that movie was the fact that you had Twitter clowns talking about Jack Kirby's art for Eternals being. I was like, you bastards! That man could draw with one finger better than you guys could do with both of your hands together. Like, don't. It's like, just it was just really funny to see these like worthless hacks on that garbage website talking about that legend that way. And what was even funnier was that, unlike a lot of other controversies, the majority of people were saying positive things about him. Like the few people that were saying gross stuff, they all got trashed. It was so good and cathartic. Then there was some other clown that was like, something. Stan Lee made the characters, but other writers did better with them. Like, dude, don't even pretend you've read any of his comics. Period. I will literally, like, I have no reason to suspect that person read his Fantastic Four run or his Spider-Man run, which are his two longest runs on comics. Like, that's why I said a lot of people just type weird stuff, but as far as actually engaging with the things that they're speaking so disparagingly of. They don't do anything. They just run their mouths. No, they don't read. Well, that's why I didn't take it seriously. I'm like, you really want me to believe you've actually read this man's works? Because you know when he says other people have done better with the kid, they're talking about like the movies, right? Like how do you compare films to comics that you haven't even read? I'll tell you the funniest thing is like having these people who call themselves like criticizing something from a writing perspective, and then they can't even read a book with pictures. You know, a comic reader, when you encounter them, they will know the details. Yeah, I haven't even read his Fantastic Four run because I was going through X-Men, but I very much want to because it's a hell of a run. You get the Super Scroll, Galactus, Black Panther, like a lot of that stuff. You know, like the Galactus trilogy. It's like issue 48 to 50, or it's like some 3-issue story. That's considered one of the best comics, period, by him and Kirby. So, you know, I very much want to read it. Even without having read it, I know of its objective importance and influence. Same thing with his run on Spider-Man. Like, that's when all the classic villains are introduced. You get Doc Ock, Vulture, Shocker, Kingpin, Electro, Chameleon, Rhino. I mean, you know, like the list goes on. The Green Goblin. You know, there's a reason why after Lee left the book, you can only count all the major iconic villains introduced after those first 100 issues on like one hand. Everyone was shocked that Thor and Loki have a sister. Yeah, because people, I tell you, they don't care. Like, you don't even have to read comics to know about her. You know, it's really sad, man. I can't believe it. No, if there's one Thor character I wish they would put in the movie, it's Enchantress, because I always thought she was really interesting as like someone that is in love with Thor, but you know she's also a villain, so it's kind of like a Catwoman thing, sort of. I think they could have done a lot with her if they used her, but I don't think they will. It's like with every major character in the MCU, like every like big comic protagonist, they always have some really interesting character that's related to them that they never really get around to using that much or at all. Um, like with Iron Man, we never get to see him and the actual real Mandarin fight each other. His arch nemesis, he never meets him. Same thing with Hulk and Red Hulk. Like, you know, I have no reason to believe they're actually going to finally have them fight each other, or have him fight the leader. They set that up in the first Hulk movie and still nothing. She is interesting. She's a great character. No, it was so funny. Like, these guys haven't even read any comics ever, and they see her talking all this trash. Like I told you, I'm I remember like pre MCU Marvel, nobody talked about Avengers ever. They were just like the bootleg Justice League. That's all they were. The less successful, lamer Justice League. Like, there's a reason why you cut to like mid 2000s, early 2000s. The 3 Marvel properties that got bought off by other studios were X-Men, Spider-Man, and Fantastic Four. Because all those other ones nobody cared about. I'm just saying, like, if it weren't for the first Avengers movie, that team would not be, even like remotely interesting to anybody. This guy was like, "Oh, what does Fantastic Four have?" I was like, "Dude, Fantastic Four has Doctor Doom, who's literally considered one of the greatest villains of all time in any story period." To where Stan Lee himself said that Doom was their best villain. And we don't even have to bring up Galactus. You know, let's you don't even have to mention him. Like Doom already by himself pretty much trumps all antagonists from any of the Avengers put together. The movies are all regurgitated junk. Well, yeah, when you have an assembly line of this stuff, amazing to me what the MCU did with throwaway characters, basically. Like, well, here's the thing: I wouldn't say Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, or Thor were throwaway because they all did have their own like ongoing books, along with Daredevil, for example. But they were lesser liked properties. Like the original best-selling book for Marvel was Fantastic Four, and then Spider-Man overtook them 4 years later when he after he was made, and then had a couple of years. And then X-Men became the second best-selling book, which is why those three properties were like the ones that other studios went after to buy the rights to, and the Avengers and their associated characters just like whatever. So it wasn't really about them being throwaway, but just they were lesser known, and people really didn't give a damn about them. Dude, I still got like Megumi didn't say anything messed up, but he was like, "It's sad that I know X-Men are somewhat forgotten." I'm like, what are you talking about? X-Men #1, the Chris Claremont Jim Lee book from the '90s, is the best-selling comic of all time. Still, 7 million copies sold. Like you don't have the best-selling comic ever, and you're forgotten. Hell, X-Men had like what 5 movies before Avengers had one. And they have Magneto, who is again one of the best villains in any story. Period. Like IGN said, Magneto was the greatest comic book villain of all time. Just as an example. Yeah, man. Not all of them were throwaway, but you know what I'm getting at. Well, no, that's why I gave the example of those particular four. Like, for example, if you say that Black Panther is a throwaway character, I would be inclined to agree, mainly because his main accolade is that he was the first black superhero. But as an actual like character that people care about, he never was one before the movie came out, which is why his ongoing book got canceled multiple times, and he was largely regulated to just being a member of the Avengers. So if you described him as a throwaway, I'll be like, yep, yep, yep. It's not easy to have an ongoing book that just carries on month after month, year after year. But those other four that I mentioned actually were able to to make it go. Matter of fact, I would say that besides Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, and X-Men, Hulk was probably Marvel's biggest property because Hulk he had his rights bought by Universal and had a movie before the MCU started as well. So I'm just saying that a lot of the stuff they're getting to now is really throwaways. Like I know a whole bunch of comic fans never even heard of Shang-Chi before the movie came out. Guardians was pretty throwaway too when the MCU started. I remember distinctively somebody mentioned that we only saw Rocket Raccoon in like 10 comics in 30 years, and then they had the 2008 Guardians of the Galaxy run. That's like the big thing that rejuvenated the group and made them more well liked, and the movie just made them explode overnight. No, I don't look at this stuff through the prism of movies because, like I said, I remember what it was like when we only had maybe like an X-Men movie every couple of years, Spider-Man, a few Fantastic Four ones. That's about it. Don't let anybody play their revisionist history with you. That's why it's so funny watching people do the like recast T'Challa. We need to continue the stories of Black Panthers. Like if his stories are so important, why does his book get canceled over and over? You know what I mean? Like if they were so significant, why do they keep saying, "All right, he doesn't need his own book; he just be an Avenger"? The true testament to a comic character being a great franchise or property is their ability to keep enduring. That's why, as much as people like to say Superman is not interesting, Superman's not a good character. There's a reason he's been around for 80 years. And being published continuously. X-Men got canceled one time. They're like main title, and after they relaunched with Giant Size X-Men #1 in the '70s, it's been going strong ever since. So for Black Panther to get canceled over and over and over, that's all you need to know about how good and interesting that character is. How many times has Spider-Man been canceled? Like how many times has he had no book where it was just him showing up in Avengers or never? He's had like a continuous ongoing series since '63. Don't let anybody tell you that like certain characters are as big as they like you to believe. It's a true testament to how good a character is as a comic character if they can keep an ongoing book just going and going and going. How many times has Fantastic Four been canceled, not had any book? Just they just show up in other people. Never. And they kill me with that stuff. What does Fantastic Four have? They have endurance. They might get some horrible movies, but the actual books are considered pretty decent. Man, it's hot outside. Yeah, stay in power. Like we always talk about how with DC when they went in the like early bankruptcy, it was that like the '40s, '50s. They kept Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman going. They got rid of the Alan Scott Green Lantern, the Jay Garrick Flash, and then they relaunched in the '60s. And every major character that was introduced after that has been around since then. You got Aquaman, Green Lantern, and Flash as like the big three beneath the three that just have been going continuously since then. That's a true testament for how good a character. Just like I would argue that Wolverine is a more iconic character than Black Panther because he's had what 3 movies, an ongoing series for like the last 30 years that's had like 300 issues. And he's supposed to just be a member of the X-Men. Their most popular member, no doubt, but you get the idea that if there's something to be said when a character who's not even supposed to be his own like thing by himself has been able to keep an ongoing series, but then like what I'm saying, it's all the cards are there for my point. Anyways, I think I've discussed everything here. It's just getting like really warm, and I don't feel like sitting here that much longer. So I'm gonna get off of here. Thanks, Jem, uh, Kopsky Merchants, Jedi Master before he disappeared. before he flew the coop and James. So I'll see you.